Hello, this is Rebirth the Legend here. Been inspired to do another analysis game, so let's check this out. We're looking at a Spectre game, so let's read this real quick. Just started mentioning like Spectre and main concerns about why should I build Radiance. For the first games to play with her, I just skipped and got man to defuse. I went pretty good in the game. I only trying to go for Radiance after Vanguard, but it felt useless the whole time. Until I got the man to style. Whenever I jumped into a fight, I would die. Maybe I farmed way too slowly. What's the reason I'm getting a Radiance other than farming fast? It's gonna be like a lost a lot because how do I behave in team fights against such a team like they had? I felt like I couldn't even use Haunt again because it was too weak. I was trying to stick together. What do you do in this case? Okay. What I find interesting is like let's look at their lineup. Well, we're gonna look at a couple of things. The lineup really isn't that bad for you. The problem is it's really early game and pushy. Like, that's the worst part, is that they have a Pugna, so they can kill all your towers while you're getting online. So if you come out of laning phase badly, which isn't very hard to happen to Spectre, particularly if they, like, 2-1-2'd you in some weird way, like, Axe Skywrath or something weird like that, it could be problematic. But the story thing here says you won the lane, so who knows. Let's do performances real quick. Laning? That's what I wanted. You're the most creeps out of laning phase, so relatively speaking, you didn't do that bad. The reason I decided to like make this video is because I noticed a lot of people saying like, well, with that lineup, you know, like, and that's really not ever a good answer. Like, hypothetically, if you're playing it like, I don't know, like 6K MMR or above, like sure, maybe the lineup is what puts you at the biggest disadvantage, but like when you're talking about games that are below that, there's always room for you to play better, right? Because we saw like you're gonna die 9 times in this game. So what we're gonna look at is the situations when you died, how you farmed, sorry, the situations that you died in, whether or not they were justified, how you were farming, and how you were joining fights. So while we're kind of waiting for this to start up, I have to actually fix this or you're not going to be able to hear me talk. Oops. So, we'll talk about Radiance versus like a Diffusal Manta real quick. So, I haven't really played Spectre that much in a while. Pretty much since they introduced Silver Edge and break mechanics, I kind of felt she was very underwhelming against teams who know what they're doing. She used to be a hero you could really 1v5 with. But if the enemy builds Silver Edges, she can actually just explode, because you lose the dispersion, which is a huge element of how that hero is a 1v5 hero. What, player perspective? Oh, you're just looking at them. That's good. Just following your team around. This might go well for them. They got a pretty scary team. You're not really watching them. That was interesting. Anyway, so what Radiance does is actually like it's a very good tool on Spectre. Now you're like, is it just for farming? The answer is no. You almost never get Radiance just for farming. Radiance actually does a shit ton of damage and does a few things. First of all, when you haunt on Spectre, all their blink daggers will be cancelled. So if you see a fight breaking out and you haunt immediately and that axe didn't start the fight, the axe isn't going to be able to blink in and get a good call. Or like, let's say they have, this isn't a great example because they don't have multiple initiators, but let's say they have like a Pudge with a blink and an axe with a blink, and that Pudge blinks in and dismembers. Your whole team forms a conclave in order to respond to that, and then the axe follows up with a blink and gets like a 3 or a 4-man call now. When you have Radiance, you disable all blink daggers on the enemy team as soon as you hit R, pretty much. It's like a half-second delay in that, but that's the general idea. It also enables you to farm very, very quickly. The Radiance, as it goes on someone like a Spectre or Pugna, is also going to get them very low. Like, it lasts for, I think it's 7 seconds at max level. So even earlier on, like let's say level 6, or sorry, you should have the level 2 in Haunt, which will last 6 seconds later on. Let's pause for a second while I talk about this. Your Haunt should last like 6 seconds when Skyrath is sitting at probably like 800 HP if he goes like Arcane Boots, like Wand. He's going to have basically no HP. So just 6 seconds of, I believe it's 40 damage on Radiance when it's just the illusion. It doesn't list in the description. I think it's like 45 damage or 40 damage. So that's 4 5 times 40, we'll say it's like 240 damage or so that he's taking. So you've taken away 25% of his HP just by ulting, and you'll do that to pretty much everyone on their team. So your goal in these fights is to ult, look for the weakest target, and pick them off. In a game like this, you're probably going to want to go on Skyrath and Pugna. That's until you have a Manta. When you have a Manta, you can go on Pudge. You can even go on Axe if you want. And even Viper, honestly. Like, they don't really have ways to deal with you jumping on them with a Manta, except for, you know, he could call you. I will say, if you go for a Radiance, I don't think you necessarily need a Diffusal Blade. It's kind of like Superfluous, you know? Like, you don't need both of those things to make your Haunt Illusions do damage. Generally, when you have the Radiance, you want to build for tankiness and longevity in fights. That's the other thing. When you Haunt in, generally your hero is going to become more tanky, and sorry. Generally, your hero is going to become more tanky over time, and you'll be able to just subsist in those fights. So you want to haunt into fights as they're started, and all the major nukes are gone. Like Skyrath's already ult, Axe is already called, Pudge may be already dismembered, Viper Strike went down, maybe Blast or Pugna ult already was used. Like, some of those things have already happened. Not necessarily all of them, but when you haunt, they don't know necessarily where you're coming in. So you haunt, you look around for a couple of seconds, and you find the target that you want to jump on, and then you destroy them. For someone like a Skyrath, he's extremely vulnerable to you in the early game. This Axe is not playing aggressive enough. He should just be getting up in your face. What does he have? Oh, he didn't buy a shield, so he can't really trade that well with you. So he's not laning particularly well. Like, I don't really think you should win this lane. Like, honestly, this lane should go much worse if they 2-1-2'd. I think this is... the Dota buff didn't estimate the MMR, but I don't think this is a very high skill game. Based off the item timings I saw. Probably like around 2k maybe. Give or take 500. And the fact that I can't estimate means that most people don't have visible profiles or MMR or something. But, cool, we're getting some free last hits here. We're doing kind of okay. I mean, 40's not ideal. You're against kind of a tough laner. What you want to do against an Axe, and you're not doing it right now, is you want to use aggro. Like, you're just kind of standing in wave. He can just walk up and, like, call you. What you want to do is attack him, pull... Just AFK. He's just a fool. Did you miss him with the dagger? That was weird. So what you want to do is attack him or any hero on the map, and his creeps will aggro to you for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then you pull them to the other side of the creep wave. The reason you do that is because if he wants to call you, he has to walk even further to get into that range to be like a threat to you. So it's much more transparent when Axe is trying to go on you. So that's one thing. Like, he's not playing right, but if he knew what he was doing, you'd be getting run the fuck over right now. I want to stress that. Like I said, you won the lane, which I was surprised about. And honestly, I think it's only because you're against a solo Axe who had no idea what he was doing. You should have lost this lane, like, by default. It should require, like, an extraordinary effort on your part not to lose this lane. Like, abusing the shit out of, like, laning mechanics. You can't miss free creeps like that either. It's really bad. You can even bring this to the camp right there, and then you farm both the stack camp and all the neutrals. You got yourself in a situation where you're going to miss the range now, though. And other stuff. You're going to miss... No, you don't miss that one. But you have to be very careful. You also have to worry about mana management, too. You let yourself get kind of low here. I don't like that you just have the Vanguard queued up by default. You don't really want to get it. Which sounds kind of weird, but... Like, if you think about it, if you get, like, the Ring of Health for, like, sustain, like, okay, cool, I can buy that. You're also in a very dangerous spot right now. He has no creep wave, but if he walked up and called you there, you just need, like, 1 or 2 lucky spins and you die. You have to be very careful when you're below, like, I'd say 70-80% HP here. I like your skill build, though. You'll see some people like, oh, Axe is scary, I'm going to max Dispersion. It's like, okay, you're just committing on losing the game. Because when you max Dispersion, it has, like, a... You can't go on this. Okay, he's a coward. So when you max Dispersion, you missed a creep there again. You gotta, like, work on that, because Spectre needs, like, every creep she can get. So, like, if you think about a hero like Anti-Mage, it's kind of true to him as an extent. The problem is Spectre is not ever a scary laner, and she can't really jungle well at all. So if you can't really jungle, then you have to like make sure like every lane creep is like worthwhile. Like these are more free creeps you're missing when you're like literally not being pressured at all. I'd recommend honestly just going into a lobby, practicing the first 10 minutes of laning, just like free last hitting, like a few times. Because she's honestly like she's deceptively like I honestly like I used to find her hard, and then once I got used to it, it's like, oh, she's really not that bad. Like her animation's pretty good. It's probably a good call here to go pick up that ring of health. But why are you walking into him? Like that, like you should be dead there. Well, you are dead there, but for a different reason. All he had to do was call you. Like we're gonna go back and look at this and talk about like how you completely misassessed the situation. So here, look how big your creep wave is. Let's see. Wait, if he calls right now, which he has plenty of mana to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's gonna be getting attacked by like 9 things and probably 10 with your shout shot. He's gonna spin like on cooldown, and you have like what 2 spins of HP in you. Yeah, you have barely any room to tank these spins. He's probably got level 2 encounter helix, so 2 spins he's done 200 damage to you because you do have the 10% mitigation, but. Like, you're basically dead, because he's going to right-click you twice during that, and, like, you're screwed. This is, like, you not understanding what you have to do. What you need to do here is walk over to here, pull this creep towards you, and try and just nail the last hit. And if he tries to aggro and, like, get this call off, he's going to tank a shit ton of creep damage and hopefully miss the call on you. You going on him here, it's kind of like, if this were any other hero that's not an axe, and maybe even not a centaur, like, it would be worth it. Because he's going to be tanking a huge creep rate, but it's an axe, you're low HP, you're going to tank all the counter helixes, and you're going to get ruined. You can't afford to be kicked out of lane, which is what's going to happen when you go on someone like this. And you die here, but not because of this. Like he's bad. I want to stress, like, he's bad, and that's why you're not getting punished here. He got one spin, and you're like, oh, this was a stupid idea, and he missed getting his call. Like, that, you live because he called nothing. I'm pretty sure this guy's like AFK for like half. Like, it's like the 3rd time he was just like standing still. Like when your first kill on him was him just like standing still, not doing anything. And then wrecked by that hook. Yeah, so like honestly, like, this is going like relatively speaking, not like you come out of the laning phase better than you had any right to. That's okay. I probably would have brought tangos or a salve too. Yeah, whatever. You can side pull here. You can not side pull here. You don't really want to jungle like that. It's not really worth it for you. He doesn't have ult right now. Good job. Like, you're spending too much time in the... Okay, we're going to talk about this for a second. So, like, jungling used to be kind of okay. Like, when you see LC jungles and shit, like, you'd hate them because, like... You're annoying and you're just playing a selfish game, but ultimately, as long as you do it well, it's kind of okay. The jungle has been nerfed into the ground. The 20% reduction in golden experience to the jungle made it very inefficient to jungle, particularly compared to lane creeps, where you can now also deny your own creeps to get more experience. You cannot afford to sit in the jungle and not lane creeps that are free on really any hero. Like, you need to always prioritize lane when that's a possibility. And further into that, when you're not in lane, there's nothing pushing the lane, and it's taking information away from your team. Like, if your creep wave's stuck up here and you're not pushing it, like, it's fine to push the creep wave, get your denies, and then go and jungle a camp. But, like, what you're doing right now is robbing intel from your team, making yourself farm less efficiently, losing a shit ton of HP in the jungle. That's the second thing. She's not even a good jungling hero. You're not in a position where you can jungle right now. So now you're super low. Now if you wanted to walk back into lane, you're going to be at like half HP when you get there, instead of like 80%, 90% HP, which is not good, because that'll mean someone like an Axe or a Skywrath could just like walk up. Like a Sky could go into lane when you're at like half, and he might be able to kill you. Is he leveled? He's level 7, yeah. He could walk in, fire a concussive shot as he's running at you, Ancient Seal, drop 2 arcane bolts, and you're dead as shit. When you're full, there's a chance that doesn't happen, though. So, I'm okay. I'm okay with the Ring of Health. I'm not okay with the full Vanguard here. I don't think you really need it, right? Like, it's hard to think of like a lineup where I'd want to get it unless I was under like some extreme pressure and fighting a lot early on. When you get that Vanguard, you have to fight and like justify a lot of early things that you don't really want to, because you're investing that 1100 gold into something that like enables you to maintain HP, but doesn't actually make you jungle faster, and then might make you a little more tanky in fights. But they're not really right clicky, so you're really only getting the HP burst. Like you could have gotten a pipe. A pipe would also be really good this game, or not even a pipe, just a Hood of Defiance is totally viable on her, and that's 400 less. I think it's 400 or 500 less gold. 400, 425 less gold gives you better resistance to what your actual problems are in this game, and yeah, it's kind of dead end. I mean, you probably don't want the full pipe, but the hood is fine. And the Vanguard does build into an Abyssal Blade, which is a very viable item on Spectre. So that's like something you need to think about. Alternatively, you can hold that gold and get a Radiance 1100 gold faster. Just getting in here is really bad. Like, once again, you're just jungling here. I think you see they're kind of nearby, though. Like, you know the Pudge is there. Just dagger off into the tree line, I think. Okay, that's good. You didn't waste your mana. It's important to... you can kill him. It's going to be very close. Okay, he gets it. No, just back up. You're fine. That kind of sucks. So, you know the Pugna got forced here. TP middle. Walk or TP middle. Like, Spectre's a hero where it's kind of fine to just wander around the map. Like, it's really not that big of a deal for you to just walk from lane to lane, finding safe lane farm. Like I said, jungling is inefficient. Overall, jungling is inefficient. And on Spectre in particular, it's very inefficient. Some people try and make it work by getting, like, Phase Mom, the 20 damage talent, and, like, an Iron Talon, which can make you jungle kind of reasonably well, but that's, like, a pretty large investment. Like, here, you deserve to die here. Almost makes you mad you didn't die. You could have even gotten an urn if you wanted to fight a lot more. Like, okay, so you contributed to that kill. I don't think you got it. So you maybe got, like, 200 gold for that, right? But if you, as soon as you saw them TP that Pugna top, and you know they're pushing top, if you just TP'd or walked middle, like, you're a Spectre with Haunt, you can afford to just TP to a random lane and show there. It's not really a big deal. You could have TP'd middle and gotten, like, 3-4 creep waves, which is, like, 1,000 gold. Like, it's huge. It's a huge amount of money. You have to constantly analyze opportunity cost, and you're not doing it. You should also try to, and you can't really help it sometimes, communicate with your team, like, hey guys, pay attention to my Haunt timings, fight around my Haunt timings. Because Spectre wants to fight with Haunt. Like, you're a pretty scrappy hero. Getting a few, like, clutch kills in, like, a team fight can be really, really, really good. Like, you can Haunt and not go in. That's okay, too. Like, if you Haunt and the fight's really, really bad, like, you Haunt and already 2 of your heroes are already dead when the Haunt goes off, like, it happens. And it sucks. Once again, now, like, you're farming jungle, you could be in top lane. Now we got an Axe in top lane, but he's useless. That's the thing. Like, you can afford to sit in the lane and do nothing, right? And just farm and then Haunt into fights. Like, that is always how you should be fighting. If your team's fighting without Haunt, that's their fucking problem. Like, you're a Spectre. You're not doing anything when your Haunt is down. Unless maybe you were, like, 5-slotted and you want to group with your team or something with Aegis. Then, like, yeah, sure, you can do that without Haunt. Let's see, this is a pretty good fight. This is a great fight. Oh, no. That sucks. We can analyze... Actually, let's go back and see exactly how this fight went down. I think it's pretty important. Okay, it's about to happen. I watched it kind of quickly, and I was talking about something. But let's see how you approach this. You see them in a fight. You Haunt. Wait a second. Haunt on the back guy. Oh, there's your first problem. Okay. We Haunt, and you come in on the dead guy. There's like 3 of your heroes on this guy. He's dead. You could have Haunted the Pugna, daggered him, and he'd be dead right now. I mean, presumably he dies anyway because he's dumb and just walked out of position, but you could have quickly gotten that kill. You wouldn't have had to dive this far for it. You miss that hook, you get forced into a weird situation where you're like running in odd directions. It turns into a kill on the Pudge too. And an Axe, because he's alone and he's against Desolate, and that hurts. then the Skywrath is able to just get a kill on you, which is unfortunate. But, like, I want to stress, all that stemmed from you, like, not... Like, you could take a second when you haunt. You don't have to haunt it immediately. This all happened because you didn't get a clean kill on him. That should have happened 6 seconds earlier. And, like, you don't want to overcommit for things like that. Here, it's kind of weird. I mean, I would have just backed up from this. I don't want to dive under tower. Your courier died. It's all kind of weird. Does he not have a blink either? No, he's going for a Vanguard. Or a Blade. He's going for stupid things. But, like, yeah, if you played that fight a little better, you would have gotten out with some nice gold and not died. Like, we talked about how you could have killed the Pugna without having to go under tower like you did, which led you in a protracted engagement that resulted in your death. Yeah. So, like, it was something that was almost really good, but then became really bad. Where are we TPing to? And now you're doing Ancients. Like, this is your problem. This is incredibly inefficient. Like, it's, like I said, it's totally fine. Like, that's not worth the safe lane that's top. There's 2 people heading top now. We seem kind of in their jungle. But yeah, that lane's pretty safe to farm. Go drag them up there. Let you TP there, push 1, maybe 2 waves, back up and farm the easy camp, wait for them to show, and then, like, adjust. You're there now, but, like, you missed, like, 1 or 2 creep waves over an ancient camp. Looks like you're about to haunt in here, maybe? Be like these inefficient farming patterns are what's costing you, like, a good Radiance timing. Like, the difference, what I'm talking about is over, like, prioritizing lane farm is, like, you having a Radiance in, like, 2 minutes versus you having one in 10 minutes. Like, if you remove that 1 death and you have the correct farming movements, like, you're actually doing really well. It's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. You should have your Radiance in under 4 minutes right now, assuming you don't do anything stupid. But considering I know you get it at, like, 28 or 29 minutes, I know you must do something pretty dumb. Now, once you have the Radiance, like, you're able to actually... I would be yelling at this fucking roster right now, like, bro, 300 gold from a relic. Please let me get that checkpoint. If they're going to be like this, I wouldn't even be with them. They have wards up. Yeah, they have wards. Just let them push the tower and whatever it. You don't have a TP right now, but you could have went... Like, this is a time where it would have been okay to farm the jungle because your idiots are farming this, so you can't really compete well for last hits against them. And then you just let them take the tower while you're farming jungle. Cool. Like, this is you overcommitting. This is inefficient movements. You got your relic now. But, like, you should be able to farm, like, 500 gold a minute. It's not unreasonable when you're putting effort into farming, but you should not be in this position. Like, your Haunt's down. Spectre doesn't fight when Haunt's down. Tell your team to back up, do whatever. Like, look at this juicy creep wave here. Instead, you're going to die. That's huge. You died for nothing. You didn't get any gold from this. You sat around, enabled them to come back here, missed a huge creep. Like, if you went here, farmed that big wave, or, like, if when they were pushing here, if you're like, alright, fuck these dudes, and you walk over here, buy a TP, farm these 2 camps, TP down here, and then push that, there's your Radiance. I can almost guarantee you'd be within 100 gold of Radiance by doing that. But now, like, you get here, but your tower already counter-pushed a huge portion of the wave. Do you guys have wards in stock? No. Doesn't look like it. And then you die again here. Really bad. Walking into the fog of war. It's kind of rough because you didn't have the vision, so, like, how harshly can I blame you? But when in doubt, just don't do anything. Like, let's see if we can infer that movement was happening, right? Okay, we're a Spectre. We're respawning. We see them all near our shrine. We see them move towards middle. They take mid tower and they disappear off the map. They see you TP there. They're not still pushing middle. So they had 2 things they could have done here. They could have backed up and farmed, or they could have gone to try and kill you. We see which option they chose. And, like, you walked into it. You could have waited on, like, the high ground. Like, one thing you can do to, like, mitigate something like this, which it is nighttime, so it is a little harder. But, like, you could have walked over here. You could have daggered that and pulled it up. That would be one option. If, like, you're scared, it's okay to farm in, like, a very defensive manner, or just back up. Like, you're a Spectre. It's not expected that you're going to have, like, 12 creeps a minute by, like, 20 minutes, you know? Like, it's not reasonable to expect that. Like, playing safe and not dying, but, like, you just run through here without, like, looking, which is why you die. You also would have lived had you walked that way. Like, you're apparently not even going for the Ancients. I don't know if it's because you saw that camp, which sucks. But, like, if you walked that way around, you would have lived. If you kept pushing that wave, you would have lived, too. The reason you would have lived if you kept pushing the wave is because, one, the axe does not have a blink dagger, right? Nope, no blink dagger. You could farm this. They have to run at you. They literally have to run at you, and you're here with a somewhat of an escape mechanism. If you just push the wave, your creeps are going to get vision. Like, let's try and... Like, you would stand on this side of the creep wave, slowly farm that, and then back up into the tree line. And, like, follow your creep wave along the tree line. And then they'll either show to push they'll eventually have to show, and then you can decide, okay, I'm going to TP out, I'm going to dagger further into the tree line, and then TP out, or whatever you want to do. The space you went to was, like, the worst option you could have made. It was, like, the worst pathing to the worst option as well, right? Because you could have walked here, and you probably would have lived, because you just saw them walking uphill, hopefully, and been able to respond. But, like, these are these are huge carry mistakes. Like, I don't want to, like, people are like, oh, lineup made it hard. Like, no, you were in a situation to win this game, and you threw it. Like, when your team took this tower, and they were, like, marching on that, and they were farming this, that is when you made, like, you already made a bunch of little mistakes. Not really the big, I don't know why anyone would get that. 15 attack speed is not really a lot. 8 int on that hero is fucking huge. He's so stupid. I don't mean the person's so stupid, I meant the hero's so stupid, but I guess both could be said pretty fairly. Also better if he gets it early. Plus you're gonna wand too. Definitely should have a wand on CK. Particularly against a Skyrath. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, like, you lost your Radiance timing here, right? You're gonna die one more time. Like, you're pushing so fucking far up here. You're with your team, Haunt's down, everyone back up. You just say, everyone back up. He's gonna ward drop. Cool. Let him ward drop. Oh, you get a nice little kill there. Cool. You got a dagger up. You can look at this fight. Just huck a dagger. Dagger's got like 2,000 range. It's retarded. Doesn't say. Yeah, like, you, like, I think either choice there is fine. Like, to back up and farm is a fine choice too. Are you gonna fuck up here and die before getting your Radiance? I feel like that's about to happen. I don't know how. Because I could have sworn you... Oh, maybe that's your completion time. Okay. Alright. Why is your courier not moving? Why is your courier not moving? Okay, Radiance is one of those items where as soon as you get it... Oh, no. Okay. As soon as you get it... Oh, okay, it was 27 out of 29 minutes. Still pretty slow. I want to stress you could have had like a 21 or 22 minute Radiance if you didn't make those fuck-ups. And that's a huge difference. Like, now, look how fast you farm these jungle camps with the Radiance. I probably wouldn't be so ambitious to farm that. Sorry, I got distracted, wasn't paying attention. But, like, you see how fast, like, Spectre farms with that Radiance up, right? Also, you should always have a TP. You can even... Like, the way you farm, you can even keep Clarities around if you want. Like, there's nothing wrong with keeping Clarities, because Spectre has a low pool. Needs probably, like, 400, 450 mana or so to really be productive in a fight. It's a very aggressive situation to farm in. That's a little bold. I respect it, though. I would have done the same. Walk over here, push that creep wave. But, like, notice how low you are in mana? It's kind of problematic because you can't dagger TP right now. You don't have the mana for it. But that's why you can keep, like, a bunch of Clarities on you, and then you just Clarity up as you, like, spam dagger out. So you can spam one dagger every time you have, like, 450 mana. You basically need enough mana for one Haunt and one dagger, and then that's kind of fine. Should you have Haunted here? I would Haunt right now. As soon as that suck off starts happening, you should Haunt. Oh, you don't have it. Now you Haunt. No, the person's already dead. Team should be in full retreat. You can haunt to give them the retreat too, but they might take that as a sign that they should fight. I don't think you wanted that. I think you wanted to push one more wave because, like, you know they're all, like, here. So you can get one more wave, draw them back even further, and then maybe, like, TP top and farm. I would TP in my shrine. I wouldn't even TP home. I would TP in my shrine, push in middle a little. That was a... It always feels weird to use words like that. It's like, I don't... That was questionable. You know they're all here. Like, this is game losing, too. Okay. Let's go through what we saw here. So you TP home. You regen up. Not the worst idea, not the best idea. You could have went to the shrine. Killed a camp while shrining up. It's fine to use shrines aggressive like that. He hexes and you should not ward drop that. That's a fucking pudge. But, like, keep in mind, you TP'd home. You saw them all here. You were kind of low. You chose not to push that wave. They're not dealing with that wave, right? Them not dealing with this wave means that they went this way. They went up here. There's nowhere else they could go. They're not creep cutting this. They're not dealing with this wave. They're not in lane. They have to be in this area. And, like, here, you run forward. What happens? Surprise! 3 heroes here. There's an Axe, a Skywrath, and a Viper. So you die here. And once again, this is stalling your progression. Like, as a carry, your most important, like, objective in life is to not die. And, like, I want to stress, like, almost every single one of your deaths, I haven't been keeping a tally. What do you have, like, 5 deaths so far? Almost every single death you've experienced so far was avoidable. Yeah, I think all of them. There was the... I'm trying to, like, go through them in my head. I'm sure I'm going to forget one. There's the one here where you stupidly went on the axe and he should have killed you, but instead the pudge kind of killed you. There was this one here. There's this one here. That's 3. That's 4. I'm forgetting one death, and I don't remember which one it is. But so at least 4 of your 5 deaths could have been very easily avoided here. Push the lane. Fuck that camp. It's like you have to be generating information for your team. Farming this stupid golem camp is a waste of time. Prioritize pushing the lane. And as you're pushing the lane, you farm the camps on your way to push the lane. Like, you're not an anti-mage. You're not going to clear mud golems fast enough to justify missing, like, the creeps there. And, like, it sounds stupid, but, like, yeah, maybe you might end up, like, net even by missing, like, 2 creeps here and clearing that mud camp and then coming back. But what you're not getting back is, like, the 5 or 6 seconds of this lane pushing faster, which is very important because, like, here they are. Here's the enemy knocking at your tier 3. Where's Spectre? Spectre's farming a fucking hard camp. Spectre's not pushing a creep wave, which now Pudge is fucking with the creep wave pushing. Like, if you were there, this gets pushed. But now, like, what's happening? Now what have you done? Now you're finally pushing mid, but you could have had the top wave pushed all the way to here while they're doing this slow ass push, and then you wait for your team to start a fight, and then you ult in. But now, like, they were able to slowly get up to your tower with a fucking Pugna, right? Why the fuck does a Pugna have a Shadow Blade? That's amazing. I was gonna say your one benefit is they don't have a Silver Edge carrier, but what would only make this better is if he built the built the Shadow Blade, doesn't build a Silver Edge on a Pugna. That would make me giggle a little inside, because that'd be pretty dumb. Yeah, so you should have had this whole wave pushed to here, and then maybe you get some of them to respond to you. Maybe they don't respond to you, and you just get some creep waves. Instead, you were farming this camp. It's not even a hard camp, it's a medium camp, because now it's mud golems. And, like, your manta's not finished. It's 35 minutes. Like, you had your... When you have the radiance, you should be able to farm... I used to say probably almost 1,000, but I don't think on Spectre that's reasonable anymore. After the creep and the meta changes. Well, probably like 700-800 gold a minute. It's probably pretty reasonable. So, Haunt is... Sorry, it is about 5,000 gold, so that should be within 5 minutes, or 6 minutes, you should have your next item. It's been 8 minutes, you don't have another item because you've died. Like, I know I keep harping on the deaths, but, like, people don't get it. Like, your decisions as a carry should be like risk mitigation. Particularly when you're playing a hero like Spectre, Medusa, Anti-Mage. Like the hardest carries in the game, it's all risk mitigation. Because you know when you approach the ultra late game, you win as long as you have items. But like you get to 45 minutes and you have 2 items. 2.5 items. You have a Vanguard, Manta, Radiance, I think, is what you end the game with. And is the Pugnant alive? Pugnant is alive, which means that this Rax is most certainly going down. But like, we can look at this point in the game, and this is basically where you lost the game, right? Or sorry, this is the moment that culminates in, okay, now we're at a point where Spectre's going to have a real hard time coming back. Spectre does not do well against Mega Creeps. She cannot push them very quickly. It's very miserable for her to deal with. Radiance is not effective against Super and Mega Creeps because it's damage over time. Obvious reasons. But let's backtrack this for a second and see what got us to this point. Once your first Rax falls on Spectre, it's really hard because they can just throw their bodies at each Rax, and then you're going to have a very hard time. Like, if you look at your lineup, you don't have a way to deal with Mega Creeps. Huskar can't push him, CK can't push him, Spectre can't push him. So once they breach that first set, they can kind of, like, even if you're getting lots of kills and you're not dying after this point, which we know is not true. I think you're at 6 deaths now, you end the game with 9 deaths. Even if you know that's not, like... Even if you do get all the kills and they just manage to like Pugna down mid next and then Pugna down top next, you can't deal with that slow like death of 1,000 cuts that they can afford to deliver with their type of lineup. Because that's what they have. They have to end the game like now. Like this is their window. They have a Pugna and a Viper as like 2 of their cores, and an Axe. I don't like this Skywrath is richer than the Axe, so I don't even know if it's fair to say that the Axe has done anything. Net worth? Pretty sure I'm right about that. Skywrath, that. Okay, they're close. Just a very rich support Skywrath, I think. But yeah, like, you needed to not let them get momentum like this. And, like, you let them get the momentum through, like, all of, like, inefficient farming patterns leading to a delayed Radiance timing, unnecessary deaths leading to a diminished Radiance timing. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Like a better player would have easily won this game. Like, I don't want to say like, oh, like was this game winnable? Like, it was 150% win. Like, this isn't a game where I'm like, oh, like is there anything you could have done? Like, there's 100%. Like, I probably pointed out like 30 different things so far that you could have done to like not let the game get to this point. So it's basically a combination of unnecessary deaths, inefficient movements, inefficient farming patterns led to this. I would say I don't think you needed the full Vanguard. I don't think it did anything for you except encourage you to jungle farm. Like, honestly, buying the Vanguard is probably bad just because it made you want to jungle farm. I think the Pipe probably would have been a little better. Not Pipe, Hood. The Pipe is like 3k gold, I think, but the Hood is relatively cheap. Yeah, 3,200 for a Pipe, but almost half of that for just a Hood. And Hood gives you pretty much all of that, while Pipe gives some of that to your team. But you only care about numero uno. Does Pipe even give more regen? Whoops. No, it's equivalent. Just doesn't have the damage block. But yeah, like a poor item choice, I believe, in the Vanguard, given the game. You could also got an Iron Talon, would have been really good if you felt you were going to be forced to, like, there's times where you're forced to, like, heavily jungle as Spectre, but you can itemize around that kind of with, like, I kind of mentioned it earlier, like a Phase Iron Talon, like Mom or something. That lets you jungle, like, reasonably fast. But I don't really think it's worth watching any more of this. I mean, the only way this game gets dragged out longer is if you don't die again, but we know you die 3 more times before the end of the game. But at least, I said 4 out of 5 before. I'm going to say I think this death was... Like, they're pushing your high ground. You kind of have to fight. But, like, the situation in which you took the fight could have been avoided by pushing top lane. Maybe you could have gotten someone to TP. Maybe they would have felt pressured to push quicker, took a bad fight, and then your team could have done something. I'm not going to rewind, and I don't really care. I think your Huskar might have gotten picked off, like, stupidly. You just rushed to Satanic? That's fucking stupid. That is incredibly dumb. It's all very silly itemization. But yeah, beating a dead horse here. I'm going to go ahead and end the video. I think we got some good good feedback here. Um, I haven't made a video in a while, but I kind of thought this would deserve it because I was looking at the comments and like, let's look at them real quick and just discuss why I disagree with people. And with the team lineup, I would have skipped the Radiance and Vanguard rush to Blade Mail and BKB and made sure my support rush to Pipe is Pugnut. Like, you could have Radiance and Vanguard and then Blade Mail. Like, they don't really have right click except for Viper. Like, Vanguard doesn't really block anything because even Viper is like huge magic damage. There's no real reason for the Vanguard. And then, like, you're saying to get a BKB and a Spectre. Like, this this build gives you, like, no farming potential. Like, you have to fight and you have to win fights. But, like, you saw, you didn't have to play that way. Like, I think he's just looking at the score screen saying, well, this would have theoretically made, like, a good thing. It's like, it would have been okay, I guess. Like, if he said pipe diffusal, or sorry, hood diffusal, like, hood, phase 1 hood diffusal, something weird like that, like, sure, I could maybe get behind that and then try and fight your way into the game. It's an option. As a carry, I usually try and choose the route of what's what I'm looking for, like, least risk, for lack of a better way to put it. And, like, this isn't it. like this like farming is always like an easier way to, like, farming and split pushing is always an easier way to win a game. Because there's less chances for your team to fuck you or for things to go wrong. Like, if you fail split pushing, it's your fault. If you go into a team fight and then, like, your Lion doesn't use stun or hex and just stands there because he disconnected or went AFK or is just bad, like, and you lose because of that, it's just like, what are you fucking doing? Like I was team fighting. What the fuck hero was I? I don't remember. But an anti-mage took basically all my mana. And then I had a support jump in on him, and he have him chain stunned, and I need him to mana me so I can abyssal. And he didn't mana me. So I was an Ursa. And I just needed mana for an abyssal blade or a fury swipes to kill the anti-mage, and he didn't do it. And the anti-mage manages to blink away. I think we'd kill him anyway, but it's just like, what, like, playing as a team led to this, you know? Like, I don't have to, if I'm not playing with my team, I don't need to depend on them. It's not like the most fun way to play Dota, but it's a very effective way to grind MMR if that's your goal in life. And this is not something that encourages that. Like, this, if you fall behind, this build doesn't work at all. If you have a Radiance, you can kind of farm and split push and, like, maybe team fight your way back in with a Radiance. When you have the opportunity to straight farm. It's not really true. Like, Radiance is a really good fighting item. Like, once it comes online, you're scary. Like, a hero like Naga and Alchemist need Radiances by, like, Alchemist needs it under 16 minutes. Naga needs it around 16 to 18 minutes. And then they're kind of scary. Or Alchemist is pretty scary at that point. Naga is just going to split farm and maybe Illusion harass you. But like a Spectre getting like a 23-minute Radiance is still scary because of what it does by disabling all the blink. Like, you hit one button. Don't need to look for heroes with like a Naga illusion. You just disable all their blink daggers, find the weak people, and can jump them. You give like perfect awareness to your team if they're competent enough to use it. So like even like a 27-minute Radiance, which you had, like that game is when I've won games with like a 31-minute Radiance. Like the longer a game goes where you don't have the Radiance, like the better it is, kind of, right? Or the more necessary it is, because it's like a good comeback item on her. Which seems weird because it's not like obviously it's stronger earlier, but with her it's just kind of strong overall. All of disables, therefore your, let's say, brief glance, but the main problem I saw that Spec was a horrible pick for the lineup. Not really. Like, you didn't struggle. Like, that lane could have been worse, but like the mid game was just you misplaying. Like, they had a snowball pushy lineup, and they didn't really snowball or push very strong. You just let yourself die enough to that their push could come 10 minutes after it should have came. Like, they should have been trying to high ground you at like 25 minutes. I like the latest, I would say. And they couldn't do that. Like, their lineup was super awkward. Like, let's look at it real quick. Their lineup. They have no real capacity to take Roshan. None of these heroes are good at taking Roshan. They only really have push and Pugna, so you really only have to kill a Pugna, and then their push is stopped. And you have ways to just kill a Pugna. And besides that, they're just kind of, they fight. They don't push. They don't take Roshan. their case for taking objectives is very difficult. It's extremely difficult. So, like, I'm not even going to say, like, I think that the lineup was, like, we watched the game. You clearly had many places where you could have made it. Like, if they play their lineup perfectly, it's still very precarious for them. Like, the Pug just has to die in a push, like, 1 or 2 times, and they basically lose the game, assuming all other things equal. It's not disabled, but Axblin calls Blade Mills doing the Scareth nuke. Yeah, they never even use this combo on you. Like, ever. Like, it's not disables, it's those disables. I mean, he's partially right. Spectre, because of dispersion and radiance, if you get locked down and nuked, you don't really care, as long as you're not also broken. But, like, early on, this combo can be terrible, but does this axe even get a Blink Dagger? 27 minutes, huh? Huh. It felt like it was later than that. He gets a 27-minute blink, though. Like, he should have, like, a 10-minute blink dagger. Particularly, like, a soul land like that. He should have bodied you and had a fast blink dagger. If he wanted to build a Vanguard first, he could justify that if he's dominating the lane and, like, beating the crap out of you. Which he could have done against that land. But he didn't do. But yeah, this combo is devastating. Axe and Skywrath. Like, if you want to pick off, like, a vulnerable hero who's, like, split farming, like, Anti-Mage, Spectre, whoever the fuck else, that combo is extremely effective at it. But they literally never tried to use it. And that involves you just having better map awareness to avoid it. Because once that combo hits, you're dead. Like, that's an absurd amount of damage for you to get hit with. Even with no calls. Just the Skywrath ult and 2 Qs and a silence that lowers your magic resist is going to be, like, over 1,000 damage. And Spectre is going to be dead pretty much no matter what. Unless you had, like, the hood and you got the active off. But yeah, like, I want to stress, like, I think, like, all these comments kind of, like, miss the point. Yes, what should I have done to win this game? And there are plenty of things you could have done to win this game. Saying, oh, it's the lineup's fault. Or, oh, you should have done a different item build. Or, oh, this. It's like, they're at best half true, but not really fully comprehensive. But anyway, I hope it helped. I have homework to do that I use this to avoid doing.